You can tighten 10 years off your face for less than $1.03 a morning with 4 things already sitting in your kitchen. This does not pull, does not inject, does not need a single visit to a clinic. It works because something in your skin stopped doing its job around 50, and this simple mix restarts it. Listen to me. In Chinese medicine, we have known for more than 2,000 years that the face is a map of what is happening underneath and that the skin can be taught to lift itself again when you give it the right signal. But your doctor will not tell you any of this. He will hand you a printed sheet about retinol creams. He will mention laser packages that cost $3,000. He will suggest fillers and then more fillers 6 months later. None of those things fix what actually stopped working in your face. The loose jaw, the soft cheeks, the lines around the mouth that did not used to be there. These are not just age. They are signs of a specific signal your skin is no longer receiving. I had a patient last spring, a woman who still ironed her own pillowcases and kept a list of every book she had ever finished. She had stopped looking at herself in the rearview mirror somewhere around her 62nd birthday. She had tried the $400 serum from the department store, 2 rounds of microneedling, and a peel that burned her for 9 days. Listen to me. You are not vain. You were given the wrong answer for years. What is happening in your face is a slowdown in 3 different places at once, and a topical cream can only touch one of them. The other 2 have to be triggered by something that pulls, tightens, and feeds at the same time. I am going to show you the 4 kitchen things that do exactly that, and the one part almost everyone gets wrong. Before I show you the 4 things, I want to ask you something. Tell me your age in the comments, and tell me one place on your face where the slack bothers you the most when you see yourself in a photograph. I read every single comment on this channel. Your answer helps me know who I am speaking to today, and now let me take you back into what was really happening to her skin. Her name was Eleanor. She was 64, from Cedar Rapids, Iowa, a retired high school librarian who still corrected the grammar in her grandchildren's birthday cards. The first thing she told me, before she even sat down, was that she had stopped looking at herself in the rearview mirror somewhere around her 62nd birthday. Not the bathroom mirror, she said. Because in the bathroom she could control the light, but in the car the sun came in at the wrong angle and showed her a woman she did not recognize. The jawline she remembered was gone. The cheeks she remembered were sliding. And the worst part, she said, was the way her mouth looked when she was not smiling. She had tried, as so many women her age try, almost everything she was told to try. The $400 serum from the department store, which the saleswoman swore would change her face in 6 weeks. 2 rounds of microneedling at a clinic in Iowa City that cost her almost $2,000 together. And a peel that burned her cheeks for 9 days and left her hiding from her own husband. After all of it, she looked the same, maybe a little worse, because now she had spent the money and still saw the same face in the rearview mirror. What was overlooked by every clinic she had walked into, what no one had stopped to examine, was the state of the deeper layer of her skin and the signal it was no longer receiving. They were all working on the surface. The surface was not the problem. Within 12 days of starting what I am about to show you, Eleanor told me that her daughter had asked her, on the phone, whether she had done something to her cheeks. Within 3 months, the friends from her library book club asked her, one by one, whether she had finally given in and done a procedure. She had not. She had used 4 things from her kitchen every morning for less than $1 a day. So how is it possible that something this simple worked when serums and needles and peels had failed her 3 times in a row? The answer is in something happening inside her face that no dermatologist ever checked for. What no dermatologist ever checked for in Eleanor's face was the same thing they never check in any woman over 50. It is something simple, and once you understand it, you will see why nothing else has worked for you either. Picture your skin as a piece of wet leather stretched over a wooden frame. When you are 30, the leather is thick and damp, and the frame underneath is firm and full. The leather grips the frame, and the frame holds its shape. You touch your jaw, and it springs back. You smile, and the lines disappear when the smile ends. That is what young skin does. It returns to its shape because the leather is thick and the frame is firm. Now picture what happens after 50. The frame underneath, what doctors call the deeper layer of your skin, begins to lose 3 specific things. It loses collagen, which is the protein that gives the frame its strength. It loses elastin, which is the fiber that lets the leather snap back. And it loses a third thing almost no one talks about, which is the water-holding sugar that keeps the deeper layer plump from the inside. By 65, your face has lost roughly 30% of all 3. The frame thins, the leather sags, and the surface, which is what every cream you have ever bought is trying to fix, has nothing underneath to hold it up anymore. This is why your $800 serum feels like it works for a few days and then fails. The cream sits on top of leather that has nothing underneath. The protocol that supposedly tightens your skin never reaches the layer where the lift actually lives. It is like polishing the outside of a sagging tent and wondering why the tent still sags. The polish is fine. The poles are the problem. But this still does not explain why the deeper layer keeps thinning even after you start feeding it from the outside. What is causing your face to keep losing collagen and elastin month after month, year after year, no matter what you put on top? That answer is in a different place entirely. The answer is in your gut. And before you scroll away thinking this has nothing to do with the skin on your face, I want you to understand something. The skin and the gut are connected through the blood, the same blood, and what happens in one changes what happens in the other. Doctors now call this the gut-skin axis. The women in my family were calling it something else for 2,000 years, but the meaning is the same. By the time you are 60, the average gut has lost roughly 50% of the beneficial bacteria it had at 30. Half of them are simply gone. What those bacteria used to do, among many other things, was produce a set of compounds that travel through the blood and signal the deeper layer of the skin to keep making collagen. When the bacteria fall, the signal falls with them. And when the signal falls, your face keeps losing the frame underneath no matter what you put on the outside. There are 3 things your gut needs to send that signal again: the good bacteria themselves, what you may have heard called probiotics, the fiber those bacteria eat, what you may have heard called prebiotics, and the healing compounds the bacteria produce when they eat that fiber, what is called postbiotics. Think of it like a garden. You need the seed, you need the soil, and you need the rain. Without all 3, nothing grows, and the signal to your face stays quiet. As long as your gut keeps sending the wrong signal, your face keeps thinning the frame no matter what you do on the outside. So how do we fix both layers at once? How do we lift what is already on the surface and quiet what is producing the loss from the inside? That is what I am about to show you. Now let me show you the 4 things that fix both layers at once, starting tomorrow morning. The first thing is 2 tablespoons of instant coffee. Not brewed coffee, not the fancy beans, the cheap instant kind in the jar from the grocery store. Instant coffee is dense with caffeine in a form your skin can absorb, and caffeine is one of the only compounds that constricts the small blood vessels in your face and pulls the deeper layer tighter on contact. It also wakes up the cells that produce collagen. 2 tablespoons mixed with the next 3 ingredients gives you enough to feel the pull within 60 seconds of putting it on your skin. You might be wondering whether you can use leftover brewed coffee from the morning pot. The answer is no. Brewed coffee is mostly water. The whole reason this works is the dense, dry form of the caffeine in instant. The first time you try this, you may feel a slight tingle along your cheekbones and around your eyes. That is normal. That is the caffeine doing exactly what it is supposed to do. Do it anyway. The second thing is half a teaspoon of baking powder. Not baking soda. Baking powder? The 2 are different and people mix them up every day. Baking powder, in this small amount, creates a mild, immediate exfoliation that lifts the dead surface cells off your face so that the other ingredients can reach the living skin underneath. It also creates a tiny amount of lift on its own because the powder reacts on contact with moisture and produces a fine pull. I know what you are thinking. Is that not too harsh? Is half a teaspoon not going to burn? In this combination, no. The egg whites and the honey buffer it. Used alone, baking powder is too strong. Used inside this mix, it is one of the 4 things that makes the protocol work. Trust me on this one. I want to tell you about a second patient before I show you the rest. Her name was Patricia, 71, from Burlington, Vermont, a retired schoolteacher who had kept the same red kitchen apron for 40 years and washed it by hand because she did not trust the machine with it. Patricia had stopped going to her own family Christmas dinner 2 years in a row because of the photographs. She said she could not bear the way she looked next to her own children anymore. She had tried, before she came to see me, a serum from a clinic in Boston that cost her $320 for 1 small bottle. She had tried a roller her granddaughter had bought her. She had tried sleeping on her back, which she hated, because someone had told her side sleeping was making the lines worse. What was overlooked was the same thing that was overlooked with Eleanor, the deeper layer of her skin and the signal from her gut. Within 8 days of starting the 4-thing morning protocol I am showing you now, Patricia told me her husband had asked her, twice in 1 week, what she had done to her cheeks. Within 10 weeks, she went to the Christmas dinner. She sent me a photograph after. Her face in that photograph looked roughly 12 years younger than the one she had brought in. 2 patients, same outcome, and the protocol cost both of them less than $1 a day. The third thing is 1 egg white. Just the white, not the yolk. Egg white is one of the oldest face treatments in the world for a reason. When it dries on your skin, it contracts. That contraction physically pulls the surface of your face tighter and lifts the small skin around the eyes and the jaw. It also leaves behind a thin film of protein that feeds the deeper layer directly through the surface. You do not need a special egg. A regular egg from the grocery store is fine. Separate the white into a small bowl and use 1 whole white per application. By the way, you should know something about the egg white. If you find yourself with leftover yolk after separating, do not throw it out. Stir it into a cup of hot water with a little honey and drink it in the morning. The yolk feeds the same gut bacteria we just talked about from the other direction. Most people throw the yolk away, and they are throwing away half of what the egg was offering them. The 4th thing is 1 teaspoon of honey. Raw honey is best, the kind from a local jar, but any honey from the supermarket works. Honey does two things in this protocol. It holds the other three ingredients together, so the mix actually sticks to your face, and it draws water from the air into your skin while it sits there. That hydration is what gives you the plump look in the deeper layer that no cream alone can produce. The first time you mix the four things together, you may think it looks ugly. A dark brown sticky paste that does not look like anything you would expect from a beauty treatment. That is exactly right. The expensive serums look pretty in the jar because they are designed to look pretty in the jar. This mix is designed to work. Now let me walk you through how to use it step by step. In a small bowl, combine the 2 tablespoons of instant coffee and the half teaspoon of baking powder. Stir them together dry. Then add the 1 egg white and the 1 teaspoon of honey. Stir until you have a thick, dark paste, somewhere between the texture of mud and frosting. Wash your face first with cool water, nothing else, just water. Pat dry. Then, with clean fingers, spread the paste over your jawline, your cheeks, your forehead, and gently around the eyes. Avoid the lips. Leave the paste on for 3 minutes. You will feel the pull within the first minute. Rinse off with cool water, pat dry, and that is it. 3 minutes, 4 ingredients, less than $1 a morning. In the first week, you will see a brighter, smoother surface in the mirror. The lines will look softer. The cheeks will feel firmer when you touch them. In the second week, your jawline will start to come back. The slack along the bottom of your face will tighten enough that other people may begin to notice. By the end of the first month, the photographs will tell the truth. By 12 weeks, you may have the same conversation Eleanor and Patricia had with their families. This protocol handles the surface. Within 7 days, you will see results. But the slack will come back if your gut keeps sending the wrong signal. The kitchen handles what is on the outside. The inside is a different question. So how do you fix the gut? And the way I tend my own gut every single day, the way the women in my family have for generations, is with kombucha. Remember what I said about what the gut needs. 3 things at once: the good bacteria, the fiber they feed on, and the healing compounds those bacteria produce when they eat. Most things you can buy give you one of those, maybe 2 if you are lucky, but almost nothing on a grocery shelf gives you all 3 in one place. Kombucha, properly fermented, gives you all 3. The good bacteria from the live ferment, the fiber that feeds them, and the postbiotics they have already produced inside the bottle. Those 3 things together are what restart the signal that tells your face to hold itself up again. I make my own kombucha at home because I have the time and the knowledge. But for everyone watching online who can't brew their own, I give BoochBod Kombucha Gummies. The link is in the description, or you can search BoochBod Kombucha Gummies on Amazon. Now let me tell you the part of the morning protocol almost every person gets wrong. The mistake is the temperature of the water you rinse with. Almost every woman I teach this protocol to rinses with warm water. Warm feels good on the skin. Warm feels like it is cleaning more. Warm is what every face wash bottle has told you to use for 30 years. I know what you are thinking. Your whole life you have rinsed your face with warm water because the magazines told you, because the saleswomen at the department store told you, because warm felt right. I am not asking you to throw that out. I am asking you to do it differently in this specific window for this specific reason. When you rinse this paste off with warm water, the warmth dilates the small blood vessels in your face. That dilation undoes, in about 90 seconds, the tightening pull that the caffeine and the egg white just spent 3 minutes creating. The deeper layer relaxes back open. The surface that was just lifted gives a little. You have done all the work and then dissolve the result in the rinse. The correction is to rinse with cool water. Not cold, not ice cold, just cool. Cool enough that you would not drink it from a glass. Cool water keeps the blood vessels constricted, locks the pull from the caffeine into place, and seals the protein film from the egg white onto your skin so it can keep working for the rest of the morning. I see this in person after person. A woman tells me she has been doing the protocol for 2 weeks and seen almost nothing. I ask her one question. Are you rinsing with warm water? Every time the answer is yes. She switches to cool, and within 3 days, she sees what she was supposed to see in the first week. The whole thing turned on the temperature of the water in her sink. 3 minutes of work, undone in 90 seconds of warmth. There is one more thing to know about the rinse. After you rinse with cool water and pat dry, do not put anything on your face for at least 20 minutes. No moisturizer, no makeup, no oil. Let the skin sit in the air with the protein film from the egg white still doing its work. That 20 minutes is when the deeper layer is most open to the signal. If you cover the skin in that window, you trap the pull underneath whatever you put on top, and you blunt the effect. 20 minutes of patience after a 3-minute treatment. That is the rule. So the full correction is 2 parts. Cool water, not warm, and 20 minutes of bare skin afterward, not immediate creams. Those 2 small choices are the difference between Eleanor's daughter asking what she had done and Eleanor giving up at day 5 because nothing seemed to be happening. What you are really protecting is the next photograph someone takes of you at a family dinner like Eleanor's, where you do not have to be the one looking away from the rearview mirror anymore. It is never too late. The body at 70 and 75 and 80 still knows how to lift, tighten, and rebuild the deeper layer of your skin, no matter how many years you have. If this video has helped you, subscribe to the channel so the next one finds you. I make these videos for the women who have been forgotten by the clinics, and the only way more of them find me is when good souls like you bring them along. Share this with the friend, the sister, the woman in your life who has stopped showing up in family photographs. Tell me in the comments which of the 4 ingredients you did not expect. I read every single comment on this channel. The BoochBod Kombucha Gummies I mentioned earlier are linked in the description, or you can search them on Amazon whenever you are ready. Until next time.